Hello and welcome back to Grim Survival. I am James. Today is Tuesday the 6th. I hope I got that right. Yeah, I did get that right because I have my tablet here and it told me. So yeah, Tuesday the 6th, and I'm going to talk about a few things today. I'm going to talk about some news. I'm going to talk about some religion. I'm going to talk about some stress because it's been that kind of day for me. And like I said, I have the tablet here. I haven't, messed with this tablet in a while, so it took me a while just to, put it back in order so I can use it for what I'm trying to use it for. All right, so some news headlines today. I'm just going to go over a couple of things. Facebook has removed a post from Trump saying that the flu is more lethal than COVID. So Trump actually is now saying that flu is more lethal than COVID. He must have been watching my videos because I've been saying that for like ever. Yeah, and I'm not bother clicking this. This is from CNN. If you guys just go to Google and type news, you'll find these articles if you don't believe me. But yeah, the fact that Facebook removed the post isn't a surprise there because Facebook removes so many things that they don't want you to see that fit their own agenda. It's just, but Facebook's not the only ones that does that. YouTube does it also. Speaking of YouTube, I can't seem to break the 925 subscriber mark. Every time I get to about 925, every now and then 926, but mostly 925, it drops by 2 or 3. And this has been going on for like 3 or 4 days now. I mean, is this YouTube messing with me, or am I ticking off that many people? Probably both. Yeah, I do. I say things and then my subscriber counts go down because I just say what's on my mind and I don't really care what anyone thinks about it. So yeah. Democrats and GOP still fighting over $600 jobless benefit. This is from CNBC, posted 2 hours ago. Yeah, I've talked about this before that, if they're going to push out a second stimulus check here in the United States, they're going to do it in November. They're going to do it after the election. I mean, no matter who wins the election, that's going to take credit for it, and then they're also doing it because they want you to spend your money on, holiday sales and things like that that's going to come out. They want to stimulate that economy for Christmas because, all these businesses, retail stores like Walmart, for, primary example, Amazon included, these guys make all their money at a certain time of year. They make all their money between the last weeks of November and the first weeks of, December, Black Friday being the primary example. That's when, if you know anything about business, they're in the negative until they're back in the black. Black is good. Red is bad. So they're in the red before Black Friday, and then they get back into the black after that date. That's how they're making their money for those dates. All those Black Friday sales, those aren't actually sales. Those are, price increases for the most part. Yeah. One thing I definitely want to talk about again. I talked about this. I'm actually going to click this little news story. I talked about this a little bit in my news story the other day, but Hurricane Delta. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to make you see it. Hurricane Delta. There you go. Yeah, I'm talking about Hurricane Delta. And I talked about it last time. It was Tropical Storm Delta. In the past 24 hours, it has increased to a Category 4 hurricane. As of 11:20 a.m., the National Hurricane Center received new data from hurricane hunters, which showed maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour, and it's about to hit Cancun as a Category 4 hurricane. Predictions right now for the southern coast of the United States, around the Gulf Coast, is Category 3 to Category 2 by the time it hits. And its current track is showing it anywhere from Louisiana to Alabama, somewhere right in that general area. And these areas have already been hit with at least 2 other storms. I remember Hurricane Laura. I remember another one. I can't remember them all. I'm bad with names. I really am. I really am bad with names. I'm bad with pronouncing names, too. We're lucky they named me something like James so I can keep it simple. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce my own name either. But, yeah, it's heading straight for, the Gulf Coast. It really is. It really looks like, now they're saying, it depends on who you look at. The National Hurricane Center is saying Category 3 to Category 2, but we're hoping it weakens quite a bit before it gets there. The major problem with this is going to be more flooding on top of the flooding they've already had. I would urge anybody in the area to go ahead and leave. I would urge you to leave before it gets there. A lot of people wait until it's too late and they don't leave until, the last couple of days, the last minute, and by then you have so much traffic of people trying to flee. It's insane. You'll end up sitting in traffic for days. I mean, quite literally days. I've seen it. Days. I've seen people get stuck in hurricanes trying to flee. I have. I don't remember what hurricane it was, but everybody went one way. They created huge traffic jams. the hurricane wasn't supposed to go that way, but then did. And yeah, it happens. All right. I went over to ABC News Australia. I really did, because you guys are having a hard time broadcasting any news from your area. And, I'm looking at this and it looks a lot like United American news. It really does. It looks a lot like a bunch of propaganda and a bunch of BS, to be quite honest with you. One article I'll point out is an eastern brown snake found in central. I'm not going to try to pronounce this. It's Canberra. Somebody tell me how to say that, because I don't know how. I'm not going to try. Anyway, the snake catcher says he removed the biggest eastern brown snake he has ever come across in his career. Now, that's got to be saying something for a snake catcher. Is eastern brown snakes poisonous? Another question I have for my friends across the sea is, Americans are under the belief that anyone in Australia, the wildlife there is just set out to kill you, no matter what, that the wildlife wants to kill you. Is that just for Americans? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it just wants to kill Americans when we come. Yeah, probably. My thoughts anyway. But yeah, I'm reading all this, and budget focused on farm workers shortage, water security, and new farm equipment. So I'm going to click that story. I really hadn't read a lot of this. I read through some of it before, but I didn't read most of these. The federal budget includes billions of dollars for water infrastructure and extended where am I at? Asset write-off to help rural Australia lead to, yeah. So they're blaming COVID-19 on a recession. Apparently you are experiencing a shortage of farm workers. I assume, yeah, it says labor shortage of almost 30,000 workers for this harvest. I assume you guys, like in America, they hire a lot of extra people. Yeah, there's traffic behind me. I'm sitting in a parking lot, and it's, yeah, traffic. There's like a road back there, oddly enough. Yeah, we'll talk about my sitting in a parking lot in a minute. But apparently in Australia, you guys are experiencing labor shortages for farm workers, and it's being blamed on COVID. I really don't see how that's COVID's fault. I mean, do you have that much of an infection that your workers can't go to work because of the mythical virus? I say mythical because that's what I believe. Yeah, I mean, New York City is closing schools again. They are reversing their, they've come out of lockdown. They started to reopen everything, and they're backtracking on that now, and they're starting to close schools again, saying that they have another increased outbreak over in New York City of COVID. I mean, it's possible. Schools are cesspools in the United States. They are cesspools. I mean, if you don't know what that is, yeah. And here's another story. I was reading this a little earlier. Farmers tortured and killed and strung up. This story is coming out of Africa, South African raids. A lot of farmers are, I'm not going to show you the picture. I'm not. Horrific killings of farmers where victims were sexually assaulted, tortured, and strung up on poles have sparked outrage in South Africa. Now, this is a story that happened, I've been following this story for a while. I believe it was Pastor Joe over at Viking Preparedness who brought it to my attention. I want to say it was late last year. I believe it was late in 2019 when he brought this to my attention personally, because I was watching one of his videos where he said that. But, yeah, this has been going on for a while, and from what I understand, the people in the area are killing off all the white farmers. That's what I understand. And reading this, that's what it's saying. It really is. So white farmers in South Africa are being killed just for being there. Killed in bad ways, I might add. And not just killed. I mean, there are a lot worse things than death on this planet. There really are. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, yeah, you really should do some research, because death is a release for some things, some people. Also, an Australian nude. Yeah, that's basically what it says. Clark's girlfriend flashes abs in a bikini. Is that really where headlines are right now? I mean, this is like the third story. Tax cuts for the rich. CEO slams handouts for wealthy Australians. Apparently, they're handing out, money, tax cuts to wealthy Australians. There's something that sounds familiar. That happened right here in the United States. Did you know you guys are blaming Trump for COVID also? Because I'm reading, this is news.com.au. This is Australian news, and it says Trump's controversial COVID tweets. I mean, really? Why do you guys care about what Trump is saying on tweets? I'm trying to find a story I read a little bit earlier. There it is. Nope, that's not it. It was national news. I don't know where it was out of. I think I had to scroll down more. 26 Tasmanian devils have been released to the wild in a 1,000 acre protected area in Australia. Now, I thought that was good news. I like Tasmanian devils. I've never come across one. I hear they're incredibly dangerous and can be very deadly toward humans. They don't look very threatening. They look little cute, cuddly little things. You just want to get them behind your ears and give them scratches and give them a treat, right? That's what you want to do to a Tasmanian devil. If you've ever seen pictures of them, obviously, if you ever come across one, I would not recommend that. And yeah, according to the article, they had been extinct for 3,000 years in Australia. How do they know? How do they know what was happening 3,000 years ago? Somebody explain. You could try to say carbon dating and all that, but I could prove that that's false. You can try to say evolution, but I can prove that that's just a theory. I can prove everything you try to prove to me. I mean, I can prove the opposite. I can prove God while you can prove there's not God. I really can. All right, so yeah. I came over here because I'm having a stressful day. I needed to go for a drive and just, clear my head a little bit. And it's kind of chaotic in my house. It's nobody in my house's fault. It's just a stressful day. I was planning on going out and making a nice video of a place I like to go where I used to visit as a child. There's a nice covered bridge there, and I am not making it today. I'm just not. I was going to, but I'm not. First thing this morning, well, it wasn't first thing this morning. I was making my coffee this morning, and Bear Independent went live, and I flipped it on a little while later just to see what they were talking about over there, because he said Coffee with Bear was the title of it. So I just said, hey, I'm having coffee. Why not? And he was reading scripture and explaining a few things out of the Bible that really, he has a tendency to do that. I don't really like his news videos, but I really like his biblical theories, and when he reads from the Bible, I really like that. So yeah, following Torah, that is basically, from my understanding, it's following the rules laid out by God in the Old Testament. And a lot of people believe that Jesus in the New Testament took away those rules and gave us different rules. And Bear over at Bear Independent was explaining why that's not true. And I agree, and I believe him. So following Torah, that's something I've never really looked into. I mean, I know the 10 Commandments. I know the rules. I do. I've read them. I really have. So now, I mean, the basic premise is you need to have those rules imprinted in your brain and on your heart. You really do. So anytime you are thinking something bad, this is my take on it. Anytime you're thinking something bad, like you want to yell at the guy in front of you in traffic, those rules are imprinted on your brain. Love thy neighbor as they love themselves. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. See, the problem we have in our society is a lot of people don't love themselves. A lot of people. I'm going to say the vast majority of people do not love themselves. No, they don't. I have a hard time with it. I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not. I am definitely not your pastor, and I'm not somebody to be followed in a religious manner. I'm not. I would not want that responsibility. I would, if he asked me to do it, me and him would have a long chat. I would be like Jonah. I really would. I would hope that he would not put me into that kind of a responsibility. I don't want it. I don't want that responsibility. I don't. Nope. Not doing it. Not even going to go here. I mean, I will talk a little bit about religion in these, especially when I put it into, after reading the news, I really need to talk about religion. I really do. Can you see my hat back there? It don't fit my head no more. I mean, I used to have more hair. I think that's why it fit. I also used to wear bandanas a bit instead of these hats, because I had hair that was like halfway down my back, and this thing was all the way down here. If you ever see a Prepper Nurse 1 Ed over there where he has it braided, mine kind of looked like that for a long time, and I cut it off. I did. And I keep everything short. Tactical reasons. I mean, if you've ever had tactical training, having long hair can be dangerous. Tactical reasons. If you've ever been in hand-to-hand combat situations or hand-to-hand combat training, having long hair. I mean, this is why our military shaves their head, because your hair can be used against you. It really can. On the other hand, Native Americans believed that it gave them insight and clairvoyance. And there was studies done to the effect, too, that Native Americans, the Army back in Civil War times did a study with Native Americans, and they had some of them where they shaved their heads, and they had some of them where they it was a controlled test. So the ones where they shaved their heads, they walked up. Before they shaved their heads, they couldn't sneak up on them. They had the feeling somebody was there. They would wake up out of a dead sleep and they would find them. After they cut their hair, they no longer could do that. And the ones that they didn't cut their hair on could still do that. So it's a really interesting story that I read. I'm not going to try to find it for you because I don't have that kind of time today. I have, things to do with family and stuff. I have to get back to it. I'm wearing a t-shirt. I wasn't wearing a t-shirt when I walked outside. I was wearing this. I was wearing a sweatshirt, and then I walked outside and realized how warm it was. Unbelievable how warm it is. We're expecting temperatures in the 80s, 80 degrees Fahrenheit tomorrow, and we're hitting mid to upper 70s today. Bright, sunny, blue sky, not a cloud in it that I can see in any direction. So very windy though, but I find the weather to be very odd. And I do stick by what I say, that the smoke from the wildfires is what has been cooling us down so much. And I know we still have a lot of wildfires burning from California to Colorado all the way up to Washington State on the west coast of the United States. So I know we still do, but I think maybe the wind has shifted. Also because of the hurricane coming up, we're getting more wind from the south. It's pushing more heat up here. So, that's probably, I'm not a weatherman, but that's my theories. I like weather. I study it from every now and then. I should have been a storm chaser. I really find tornadoes fascinating. They're the most deadly things that I have in our area, weather-wise, but I find them fascinating. It's just, I just do. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to start rambling. This video is running a little longer than I expected it to, but hey, yeah, I need to get that 1,000 mark. I'd do this kind of thing live. I really would. Just so somebody can stimulate my questions and I have an excuse to make the video last longer. Because, those guys that go live, those videos run for over an hour. I've done it with that. I posted on my channel. I interviewed Alaska Prepper on my channel just for fun. We were just, bantering back and forth a little bit. And he has so much good information that, yeah, you should definitely check out Alaska Prepper if you haven't done so. And, yeah, thank you guys for coming over. All those guys who found me through Homestead Oz. I really appreciate that. I really don't get why I'm not breaking this 925 mark. But, hey, we'll get there sooner or later. All right, I really am going to stop this time. This has been James from Grim Survival. Thank you for watching. See you next time.